I'm going to call to order the 2420th meeting of the Darien Police Commission. First order of business is acceptance of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
I didn't have a second, but I'll second that, Jan. Chief, correspondence?
2 letters of correspondence to be discussed at this meeting. The first one from a resident of New Canaan on the traffic light at Mansfield Avenue and Oxridge School.
What, Mansfield and Oxridge? Okay, yep.
So he's referencing, he lives, they have residents who live on Mansfield and Royal, but he's questioning the light at Oxridge. Now, even though the light at Oxridge School is on a state road, it is one of the few lights that is owned and maintained by the town, not by the state. Apparently what happened during construction there, I think when they were asphalting the driveway, the temporary asphalt for construction, I believe they must have ground through the loop detector that's exiting the driveway. So therefore the light goes on what's called max recall. It just goes on a certain time. It'll stay a minute for Mansfield, a minute for the driveway, even when there's nobody there. The proper operation of that light is Mansfield is supposed to stay green until it is tripped by either someone exiting Mansfield Green or exiting Oxford School.
And that's during school hours, it goes on a trip?
Right. Right now it is turning green for Oxridge in the middle of the night, just on a straight time. So I have spoken to Ed Gentile, and he's going to reach out to the Oxridge Building Committee to ensure that loop detector gets fixed, at least temporarily. And part of the Oxford School project, there's new signalization coming in there, but that's going to be near the tail end. I think we'll probably operate the same way as it always did, but it will be new signal appearances. But that was the gist of the request, is why traffic is backing up on Mansfield Avenue and not school time. So hopefully that gets resolved in short order.
Well, we appreciate somebody pointing that out. And does someone get back to this gentleman to say thank you when we corrected it?
I did, and I got a reply back from him thanking us for our prompt response and looking into it. So we all sit there.
Excellent.
The second correspondence is a little bit more involved, and I'm going to take the opportunity to speak directly to this. So we had a lady that was involved in a motor vehicle collision on Mansfield Avenue once again, and it was a collision involving a landscape truck. The landscape truck operator committed a violation, and it was also found out that he was operating without a license. The letter here requests that the police department stop all landscaping trailers to ascertain the license status of the operator, being that it is apparently quote-unquote common knowledge that most landscaper operators don't have a license. Well, I replied back to the lady, and again, we get to point out what the law is. Stopping someone for a license compliance check is against the United States Constitution, the Connecticut Constitution, and the Alvin Penn Racial Profiling Act. The police cannot and do not, and we have never stopped motorists for routine compliance checks that check licenses. That is not allowed under any statute or rules or regulation. We stop people for observable violations only, not for what might have been. So anyone's watching on Channel 79, right, in the Racial Profiling Act, this is specifically precluded. The police cannot do this. The Darien Police Department has never done this, and nor will we. We stop people for reasonable, lawful, commonsensical, observable violations. That is our standard, nothing less. She did get a reply back as well, explaining where we stand on
I see that.
compliance.
Okay. Nice to be able to address it in a public session. Okay, no other correspondence. I will turn it over to Captain Marin for department activity.
Okay, this is from the period from September 16th through yesterday, October 6th. On September 17th, a 40-year-old New Canaan woman was arrested for DWI and other motor vehicle charges when her vehicle was observed traveling through a stop sign on Hoyt Street at 4 a.m. On September 21st, A larceny of personal checks and outgoing mail were reported from a Dorchester Road residence. On September 22nd, larceny of personal checks and outgoing mail were reported from residences on Salisbury Road and Ridge Acres Road. On September 22nd, a 47-year-old Darien man was arrested for his role in a domestic violence incident. On September 22nd, a 25-year-old Stanford man was arrested by warrant for larceny and credit card charges after he fraudulently made charges at a local business in January of this year. On September 25th, a Pear Tree Point Road home was burglarized. On September 25th, a 26-year-old Darien man was arrested by warrant for DWI and other motor vehicle charges after the vehicle he was operating was involved in an accident on Hollow Tree Ridge Road in May of this year. On September 25th, a 47-year-old Darien man was arrested for his role in a domestic violence incident. On September 26th, a Goodwise River Road resident fell victim to a wire fraud scam in which close to $30,000 was lost. On September 30th, a 44-year-old Darien man and a 29-year-old Darien woman were arrested for their roles in the domestic violence incident they were involved in. On October 1st, a 59-year-old Darien man was arrested for his role in a domestic violence incident. We have the Tokenique Pumpkin Carnival and the Darien High School homecoming football game coming up on October 16th. Since September 16th, the Patrol Division and Traffic Division have conducted 60 traffic stops in numerous areas of town. Since September 16th, 10 overnight burglaries of unlocked vehicles have taken place, 3 stolen vehicles that were left unlocked with the keys in it. And then since September 16th, we've had 17 motor vehicle accidents, 4 that involved minor injuries. One of those involved a pedestrian who was struck by a vehicle's mirror while they were jogging. That was Upper Monroe Avenue. It was minor injuries, and it was reported the day after the incident took place. Again, as usual, most of our collisions occurred on Route 1. That's it.
My memory isn't always the best, but we have not had a larceny of personal checks and outgoing mail for some period of time. Is it worth mentioning that putting checks in a mailbox and putting the red flag up is advertisement for people to take them, and it hasn't happened in a while, but maybe we need to, if you have outgoing mail with a check or anything valuable in it, it's best to put them at the post office in the, I think they now have tamper-proof mailboxes, so it's either walk them inside or put them in the outside mailbox, but putting them in personal mailboxes, clearly people are driving around town at night based on the stolen cars and burglaries and all of that, and putting the red flag up is an advertisement that there's something unseemly people will check for. So
Check kiting and stolen checks is going down partly because there's a lot less checks being written. Now we get criminal activity on the other side of the spectrum on online type stuff, as we see here in our activity report. The art of writing checks really is almost a dying art. I probably write 1 or 2 a month. It's simply because those vendors won't take an online payment.
okay. Public comment, since there is exactly 0 people here from the public, I will skip over that. Old business, building issues update, Captain Shredders.
So today, the chief and I met with Tony Campanella and a representative from Automated Logic to go over their recommendations for fixes for our continuing problem with the HVAC system, especially in communications. So they gave us a quote for recommended fixes. It comes to about a little less than $34,000. So we're going to try to go ahead with that and request that from Town Hall and the Board of Finance.
Just as a little bit of a background on this, as the commission knows, we requested and the town approved for our HVAC system a sizable expenditure, including a new rooftop unit and new wiring, new boxes. The captain and I, we certainly believe we performed our due diligence with the contractor at that point. I asked specifically for a comprehensive soup to nuts quote, guarantee or virtually guarantee that the system would operate as designed and as it's supposed to, because as you know, for 10 years, we've been dealing with HVAC issues on an ongoing basis. When they were here and they were working through the problem, they found out that there was some equipment and wiring and devices that did not show on the as-built schematics for when this building was done. So the HVAC in the communication center has been problematic since day one. They found out that the way that two different air conditioning units were apparently running in opposition to each other has been part of the problem, but they didn't show. When they came to give us the quote on doing the upgrades to this system, some of this equipment didn't show that it was even there. So in their defense a little bit, they found out that the problems were greater than what we originally envisioned. We still have a solid level of confidence with this vendor to solve our problems. And Bob and I both talked to them in layman's terms of what we want and what it's going to take us to satisfy us with HVAC. Some of these things should have been built into the system to begin with. Some of these alarms and sensors where it can tell somebody that there's something wrong. Right? We don't have that in some of these places yet. I know the expenditures are not insignificant, but in our $18 million building, it certainly will be still serviceable and functional here in the next 50 years. It's incumbent upon us to get it fixed and get it fixed correctly. So we will be going back looking for those funds to continue on our mission to get our HVAC system operating properly. Bless you.
Thank you.
COVID update?
We had, since our last meeting, we had one officer come down with COVID, and he has since returned to active duty.
Our COVID regulations in the town pretty much have remained unchanged. We'll see. There may be some more adjustments coming down the pipe, but as of now, we're still running the same rules that we've been running under. A mask when you're moving throughout the building. Mask can be taken off in your work area, or if you're meeting with somebody, as we're doing here today with vaccinated people, and can maintain social distance. So we're still, I think, doing our pretty good due diligence to try to keep our people as safe as we can.
Okay. Update on the request for crosswalks on Route 106. I know we don't have a major update, but...
I did email the DOT Traffic Engineering Office, and on behalf of the residents that were here at our last meeting, I requested 4 crosswalks at Boynton Behringer, Woodway Country Club entrance, Country Club Road, and Leeds Lane. I received an answer on October 1st from Shelley Seymour, the Division of Traffic Engineering, stating that they received my request and it has been forwarded to the appropriate unit for review and response. So as of today, I've yet to hear back from anybody.
Okay.
If the response is a no, a suggestion to them would be, I know the neighbors, they had various responses from the state as well. So if they would do a virtual meeting with us, with the neighbors, I would certainly welcome that so they can hear directly from, the state about it. Whatever they're willing to do, or I would even move the police, suggest to the other commissioners, move the police commission meeting to 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, if that would accommodate them. But that way you get everybody in the room if they're willing to do it. I don't know if they would.
Well, we have a few other steps. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, just remind me and remind anyone who's listening.
Point being having a collective discussion.
Yeah, but there's other considerations. Right? That we're not. What would be the process? I mean, it still comes back to the LTA. There's still.
Well, I think they're gonna, this gets, sent out to whoever it takes. So it's probably gonna be this Ethan Doniker, who I met with on Route 1 about some other issues. And he can come out and talk to us.
Okay.
I don't know if the sidewalk thing is, I'm sure that's gonna be part of the discussion, the lack of sidewalks on 106.
Right, so and we don't have to go into it, but there's lots of moving pieces. I mean, that's just the first step. We hear back from them, and then we take it from there, whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, and obviously there should be color in it, but that's the first step in
I'm sure if they say no,
in
there's there's gonna be a reason why and
Right.
try to address that.
Okay, so that is the first step in the process. And we will continue to put it on the agenda until we hear back. But we
I'll
will,
reach out again if I don't hear from them in a few more days,
okay.
I'll email Shelley.
Okay. New business.
Do have an item of new business that I'd like to add to the agenda with the concurrence of the commission, since this is a regular meeting. It is the topic of the Corbin project, and I think Captain Shredders can speak to it. It's just kind of some late-breaking developments in the Corbin project.
So construction at that location has increased. Now they're into the foundations. So they're moving some heavy equipment to the edge of Corbin Drive. So just to make it a little safer, they're moving into the actual Corbin Street. They're moving the Jersey barriers. So they're narrowing Corbin Drive. So because of that, it's going to make parking untenable there. So we're going to make that whole length of Corbin Drive on the western side where Barrett Bookstore is and the post office, that whole length of strip now is going to be no parking.
And is it now no parking on the other side as well? So there's no,
There's really no, after they move the Jersey barriers, you can't.
No,
There will be no-
I don't think any reasonable motorist would come that way and go, oh, there's only a lane here, but I'm going to park.
all right.
So-
So there's no parking on either side. Does that, how far down does that go? Where can you park in front of the post office is what I was really leading to.
Yeah,
There's going to be no parking the
The whole-
entire length.
So you have to pull into the,
on the positive side there, right? All the buildings, the back buildings behind Corbin Drive and the Post Road, all those old single-story buildings are gone. That's all been repaved. There's acres of parking now in that parking
okay, well,
lot.
that's,
And all the businesses, except for the post office, there past the Corbin building are gone. There's nothing on the other side of the street. So there's ample parking for anyone who wants to go to any of those stores or the post office on the off-street parking. Safer for sure with construction.
And Old Kings Highway has some parking there also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that gets to be far if you're, an older person going to the post office.
Yeah. It's pretty tight already, even when you make the turn off the Post Road. So,
Okay, so there's plenty of parking, it's just not going to be right on Corbin Drive.
That's correct.
Okay, just
So
wanted to make sure
what-
there was adequate parking.
What we need from the police commission, that we do need approval for the LTA to eliminate on-street parking on Corbin Drive due to the Corbin project for an indeterminate time as needed.
I move that we make all of Corbin Drive, both sides, no parking until further notice based on the construction and Captain Schroeder's recommendation. Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
that-
It's nice to see them going, so minor inconvenience, but
Let me just throw in on a collateral, same issue, the Corbin project, since we're on it. There was a question raised about the crosswalk some time ago in front of the movie theater. You know, there's going to be a new crosswalk, and they have confirmed that that new crosswalk crossing US 1 at the mouth of the new driveway to the Corbin project is in fact approved, and it will be appearing there along with a rapid rectangular flashing beacon system. So that was the question. I believe it was from Mrs. McNally, who's running for first selectman. I believe she posed the question to me about crosswalks in that area, so that crosswalk is coming. It may be a year or two down the road, but it is coming as part and parcel of this project.
and we have lots of special permit applications. This is just for we don't need to act on these. These are all fine, and we are just for information purposes only.
Correct.
Thank you. Not sure if that was our quickest meeting, but we are quickly coming to adjournment. Two things. We need to set our next meeting, which I'm going to suggest, I don't think I'm here in 2 weeks, but based on our 19-minute meeting, my guess is we can push it to what's the meeting in 4 weeks? I don't have my calendar. Oh,
So we're here,
yes.
we're not going to meet on the
Yeah.
21st. We would then meet on Thursday, the 4th.
Does that work for
20.
the people to my left and right? November 4th,
Pardon me.
regularly scheduled meeting? No?
Isn't that that's the legal update?
Only AM that morning. It's PM the night before.
Okay.
Okay, short of somebody coming up with a conflict, it would be November 4th at 4 o'clock. We are going to go into executive session. We are not going to carry on any business coming out of executive session, so we will end the meeting here. Excellent.